Please remain standing and join us in a moment of silence dedicated to the memory of Kelsey Kramer, grade 11, who passed away on September 23rd, 2011. I'd like to start this evening by just making a brief statement about the related promotion of the moment of silence. Just to take a minute to thank administration. This has certainly been a difficult week for our district and our community. I would like to take a minute to thank our administrators, teachers, counselors, and support staff for the professional and compassionate manner in which they supported and continue to support our students during this very difficult time. Your impact to our students during this time is an important part of the healing process. Thank you for all you've done. This time is to announce the executive sessions for Monday, August 22nd, 2011 at 6 p.m. to discuss legal and personnel matters. Monday, September 12th at 8:30 p.m. to discuss legal and personnel matters. And Monday, September 26th at 6:30 p.m. to discuss legal and personnel matters.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Before we recognize the students this evening, I have two announcements. First, we received a picture of the graduating class of 1950 from Memorial High School, and this is a gift to us from Judge D'Angelo. We're going to be adding this to our archives room. I wanted to share that with the board this evening. Second, I would like to take a moment and thank the many staff members who were involved in the extra assistance needed for our first few weeks of school. The first 2 weeks of our school year were marked by some extreme weather as well as a security issue, and we have many people to thank at this time. Our transportation department and bus drivers made significant changes to our bus routes in order to safely transport our students. As a result of power lines that were down, trees that were down, that blocked our roads, we are very fortunate that the Ojrsd School Bus Company was able to have all drivers here present in a very quick time when we needed to have an early dismissal at our high school. As well, our safety and security department provided lots of extra hands during those days. They were especially helpful during the second week of school when the northern portion of our school district experienced flooding along the Schuylkill River. Over 150 families were evacuated, and the Red Cross provided a shelter site in the auxiliary gymnasium of our high school. Thank you to the high school administration and athletic department for relocating some of our classes during that time. A special thank you to our football team for assisting our Red Cross volunteers in setting up the cots for that shelter. Thank you to our teachers and staff for keeping those opening weeks as close to normal as possible and getting our students off to a great start. And finally, thank you to our students and parents for being patient and flexible with us as we work through several weather-related challenges. And while none of us wish to repeat any of these situations this year, it is comforting to know that when we need extra support, we have great people who step up to the task at hand and serve our students and communities so well. Many, many thanks. And at this time, I would like to turn over our student recognitions to Dr. Ashley.
I'd just like to turn it over to Mrs. Susadell, who's in charge of our class committee class club.
Thank you. The Ojrsd junior class will be competed in the Pennsylvania junior class for the state competition in May. Our awards for this season have forgot who are presenting them now. This year, over 550 students from across the state competed in academics, athletics, and artistic competitions, and our students, as usual, did extremely well. We have a few of them here tonight, and I'll announce them when they appear. And there are a few students who were not able to make it this evening for various reasons, but I would like their names to be read. In the academic testing, and first place in the state for advanced mythology, which is levels 3, 4, and 5, was Cassie Kopp. Fifth place for advanced grammar was Michael Bonner. Fifth place for advanced English derivatives was Michael Bonner. And fourth place for the advanced level Curriculum team, which is an academic team competition, which is specifically for Latin and classics, was the ONJ team. In the arts, we have our chapter scrapbook placed first to Kelly Choi, who has since graduated. Minor models to Como Honda. First place, and he is here tonight, so if you can come up and join me, was Baxter Recton for classical video. We also got the second place for classical video with his colleague Eric Gift, and second place in major models was Bronte Baker Blake. We did very well in arts this year. Second place for the impromptu performance, where the students were given a classical theme and a limited amount of time to create a skit, was Jen Schwetke and Marty Machanya. Third place cartoon, also here this evening, is Torrin McFarland. Our minor models was Eddie Myers, and instructional charts was Colleen Deegan. We also did well in Olympica with some serious events and some not so serious events. Our volleyball team, for the third year in a row, came in first place in the state. Actually, fifth year in a row, excuse me. And that was, we dominated yet again in that. Torrin, you were on it, Baxter? Next year. We also had a friskus throw. The students don't do discus because they're not trained, so they do friskus, and that was Colleen Deegan. We also, rather than a shot put, had a rubber chicken toss, and that was Anna Albright. But we also have running events, which we did very well in. The 1600-meter girls was Jen Schwetke. 400-meter was Torrin McFarland again. And the third place boys friskus throw was our graduating senior Jimmy Wolf, whose mother is here this evening. And we also, it's kind of interesting, we have very well-rounded students here at ONJ. We also did extremely well in the spirit competition. Thankfully, we compete against the smaller schools division since we have fewer folks. We only had just a shade over 20 kids who went, and we're competing over some schools that are 80 students, so we can't yell quite as loud. But we did manage to get the lower division Saturday spirit and also the best Keystone newsletter article for Cassie Pop with her thesis on how hippopotamus should be used instead of horses for cavalry. They're much more fearsome. So those are our students for this evening. Thank you. And thank you for your support.
Thank you, Dr. Soder. As the first month of this new school year is starting to draw to a close, high school students are definitely keeping themselves very busy here at ONJ. OJR crew is back on the water for its second fall season. Due to the hurricane and the additional rain soon after, the river was a bit angry for the past several weeks and has calmed enough for the crew to get back on the water today, Monday, September 26th. Ongoing and increasing student interest indicates both the boys and girls teams will have both greater participation and be even more competitive than last year. Like last season, the rowers will be competing on the Schuylkill River adjacent to Kelly Drive. We invite you and look forward to seeing you at the river. DECA is looking forward to another success year. Members have begun preparing for competition and planning their community service events. The Kick for a Cure event will be held on Sunday, November 20th, with all proceeds going towards the Make-A-Wish and MDA organizations. The International Career Development Conference this year will be held in Salt Lake City, Utah at the end of April. This past Saturday, the ONJ High School Marching Band took first place at the Boyertown Cavalcade of Bands competition. In addition to coming in first place, our band also won every major award, including Best Overall Music, Best Overall Visual, and the Arlen Saylor Trapling Trophy for Best Overall Band. This coming Saturday, October 1st, we are hosting the 41st Annual OJ Roberts Cavalcade of Bands at 5 p.m. in Wildcat Stadium. 15 high school bands will be competing that night, along with a special performance from our feature band, Temple University. On Saturday, September 17th, 2 students and their parents and 1 teacher from ONJ attended a working session at the University of Pennsylvania campus in Philadelphia. The students and teacher, Elena Monastra, Savannah Gallant, and Mr. Richardson, are in the 3rd year of research on a grant from the National Science Foundation, which is being used to develop a web-based watershed model. The students have been reviewing and providing evaluation and input to the scientists who are developing the model in real time as it is being developed. The session focused on the presentation of a new version of the model, where the students interacted directly with the scientists and software developers. This project continues at ONJ throughout this year, Mrs. Precario, Olivia Salendong, and Maddie Carr are also on the ONJ team. Lastly, Anchor Club sent volunteers to Warwick Park for the Autumn Harvest Festival. The park was very grateful for their help. And I would also just like to reiterate from a student perspective the condolences that were expressed earlier tonight for the extremely untimely loss of a fellow classmate. But in the face of such a tragedy, the faculty here at ONJ, the student body, and the entire ONJ Roberts community responded with just a powerful, incredibly supportive compassion that was very, very, very helpful for many of the students and teachers who have been forced to cope with the event. Thank you.
Before we go to public comment, I also have another statement to read an agenda item, which I'll read, so that way if there's any comment about it, we'll have our thoughts before that. There are two motions on the agenda this evening related to the interim superintendent role. The first is a motion to move Dr. Soder into the interim superintendent role, where she will remain until the permanent superintendent is found and installed. We are very appreciative that Dr. Soder has agreed to fulfill this vital position. She has provided stability and steady leadership to our district over the last several months, despite numerous natural disasters. Dr. Soder is the right person to lead our school district for the remainder of the school year. In recognition of this added responsibility and important leadership role, the board will also be entertaining the motion this evening providing Dr. Soder with a modest stipend. This additional compensation will be a fraction of what her leadership is worth. However, the board believes that this is an important expression of the district's appreciation for her service to us and her experience that will allow us to operate without having the need to hire an additional interim administrator. Thank you, Dr. Soder, for agreeing to fulfill this important role for us. We appreciate all your hard work and leadership. Additionally, just an update on the superintendent search process. The school board would like to share that an important update regarding our plan for locating a permanent superintendent. The school board has decided to partner in our search with the Chester County Intermediate Union. The CCIU, led by Dr. Joe O'Brien, works closely with our school district in many areas of service and resources. The CCIU is also very skilled in providing the superintendent search services, having recently assisted several of the Chester County peer schools. Joe O'Brien and the CCIU team will be assisting our district through this important process. It is also recommending this service and assistance is being provided to us for no additional fees. The tentative interviews and vetting process will not begin until after the first of the year. However, there will be important community and stakeholder engagement steps that the board is anxious to begin. Selecting a CCIU as our partner now will allow us to begin these important steps in the fall. So that takes us to 5.1 public comment. Information, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda. Speakers are to indicate the name, township or residence, and the items on the agenda to which your comments are addressed. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Brian Budd with Township Township. I have a question about item 1228 on the agenda, ratification approval of independent contractors agreement. The questions I have are, what services does this consultant provide? Why does the district need these services? What will be done from the results of whatever the consultant finds out? Was this the most economical choice, or are there other alternatives? And then what is different from this motion than the motion that the board approved in August?
Okay.
And then I just would like to ask the board for the future, in the motion in the August agenda, this was on the agenda, but there was no monetary amount. So I would request the board, anytime there's a consultant or anything that would have a monetary value, that please include it in the agenda. Thank you.
So we'll say that next board discussion.
Yeah, okay.
Pam Wolf, North Coventry. First item, 1212. I have the letter that Mr. Stone and the school board sent on August 8th, 2011 to the entire school district. And at the bottom, I will quote where it says, "We have been provided a list of highly qualified retired superintendents who will guide us during this time period. We will be interviewing candidates shortly." My question is, how many candidates did you interview?
We did not interview any superintendent candidates. We did get those names. And after we opened up school, administration provided an assessment, and after the school board decided to suggest to the school board that they did not need to involve.
Okay, and when did the letter go out to the community saying that you had decided to rescind your pledge to interview candidates? So there was no public knowledge that you were not going to interview. Is that correct? That's correct, okay. And the other item is 12.8, approval of salary adjustments. 3 people who are part of the Act 93 contract are going to be getting raises. The first question is, what is their percent of raise? And my other question is, when is their contract? Is it a July to July contract for Act 93? All you have to do is say yes or no.
I can help you with that, Mrs. Wolf. The contract is July to June.
Okay, now my next question is then, these 3 contracts were opened.
The contract is actually with the group of the Act 93.
Correct.
So it's a larger group.
So the whole group, everybody's contract was opened?
No. Only the 3 individuals with which you see on the board agenda for this evening. There was, outside of contract, those individuals and their positions were reviewed because they were they were under market and very much below the minimum.
I didn't ask why, I just wondered if they were open. And another question is, why do people sign contracts if they're not binding?
It's not a contract. It's an Act 93 agreement, which is not a binding. I should say it's not binding. It is not considered a contract. It's considered an Act 93 agreement under the Pennsylvania School Code.
So anybody in the entire group of Act 93 at any time has the right to have their contract opened and have a raise?
No, they wouldn't have. When you say it's not, first of all, it's not a contract.
That's
okay. So it's an agreement. So
okay.
The board would need to deal with those individually because it's an agreement, not a contract.
Okay.
And which is why they're on the agenda.
And my last question is, could you tell me the percent of raise for person number 1?
You can just suggest your questions, and we can certainly entertain those during the board discussion.
That won't take long, but you can just tell me.
Oh, yeah.
My 3 minutes are up.
Yeah.
Well, you can just
Actually, you just look it up.
Okay, then those are my 3. I just want to know the percent of raise for persons 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Can I ask a question first before we move on? It's a pertinent question to this evening's agenda. We have 5 members here. Is there any item on the agenda that would not be able to go forth since we would need to have 6 people vote on that particular item?
Okay, during board discussion, we're going to review the policy of
I'm just asking if there's any of those that we...
Yes, the policy is the majority of members of the full board is 55, so anything that would have a negative vote this evening is subsequently failed. And not anything that falls into the categories.
Okay, but anything that is a roll call vote must go by 6. If it's a roll call vote.
If you look in our board policy, none of the items that are on our agenda this evening fall under the 2/3. But we do have items that fall under, you have to have a majority, affirmative majority vote of all members of the board.
Well, majority is 6.
Yeah, so if you want to pull up policy.
No, it's 5.
what
It's
policy
5.
states.
Majority would be 5.
You want to pull up what policy number 6? Visual student category.
Okay, I just asked the
Right.
question
No,
because I don't want us to have to vote on something and then find out that it needs to be rescinded or done over or whatever it needs to be because we don't have enough members here.
Right.
So that was why I was bringing it up.
Yeah, so I'm pull it up so we can do that. But just for everybody to
Affirmative majority.
well, let me just read the policy.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting.
Sure.
By the way, it's not a policy, it's school code.
Right.
It's also in the policy.
I have a policy. The following actions required. Excuse me?
Does it say SC next to that?
Yeah, it does.
Right.
That's why it's referring to school.
Right, it's in the policy.
Please go ahead.
The following actions require the recorded affirmative vote of the majority of the full number of board members, establishing length of school term, adopting textbooks like recommended by the superintendent, appointing the district superintendent and assistant superintendents, appointing teachers and principals, adopting the annual budget, appointing tax collectors and their appointees, levying taxes and assessing taxes, purchasing, selling, and condemning land, locating new buildings or changing the location of the old ones, adopting plan instruction, establishing additional schools and departments, designating depositories for school funds, spending district funds, authorizing the transfer of unencumbered balance, a portion thereof, from one appropriation to another, or from one spending agency to another, in the last 9 months of the fiscal year. Entering into contracts of any kind, including the contract for the purchase of any supplies and equipment, compliance with school code 87.1. Combining or reorganizing the part of the school district. Entering into contracts with or making appropriations to the intermediate unit for the district's proportionate share of the cost of services provided to be provided by the intermediate unit, dismissing after hearing from a non-tenured employee, adopting a corporate seal, determining the location of the amount of any real estate required by the school district for school purposes, vacating or abandoning property which the board has titled, determining the holidays other than as provided by statute to be observed by special exercises, those on which the school shall be closed for the whole day, removing the school directors, declaring that the vacancy exists in the board by reason of failure or neglect of the school director to qualify, removing an officer of the board, removing an appointee of the board, adopting or amending and repealing the board policies and procedures. So how we'll handle this tonight is if we do have a negative vote, the motion will fail. It's in these categories. And we will be discussing it.
Determine if it comes forth in October, then that's what we'll do.
Okay, well, you mentioned something, appointing superintendent, assistant superintendent. We are changing, we are actually appointing.
It would only apply to the negative vote.
Right. If there's a negative vote,
So anything that we have concern of, we certainly take it to the next meeting.
Why? The school code does not say it has to apply to a negative vote. It says whether or not you're roll calling it.
The policy reads that by the majority of the full number of board members need to be applied.
right, because we have 9 total board members. So you have to have 5 affirmative votes. Now, if you have 4 affirmative votes, then that motion will fail.
No, there are particular things that need to have the 6, and that's what I'm asking, if that one is.
He's reading the list of where
Right,
you have to
and
have
that is
the
included in it. So is it not a roll call vote?
This is a different list.
It's a
You
different
want to pull that policy, then whichever you list.
Yeah, what number is it?
Policy 006.
6.
I have to get on the internet. Which I don't know. I just don't want to do something that we're not supposed to do.
And I actually checked with the solicitor as well.
So, we'll move on to 6.1, board committee reports. 6.1, the meeting is being held on September 12th, 6:17 in the registration building. The following committees met at that time: building and grounds, finance committee, extracurricular and interscholastic, curriculum and instruction. The next meeting of the committee, the whole meeting will be on Monday, October 3rd, at 6 p.m. in the administration building. We'll run through the rest of the committees.
The next Owens and Ground Commission meeting is scheduled for October 10th, 2011, 6 p.m. in the Board Administration Room. A large portion of that meeting, we will be reviewing the executive summary of the district feasibility study. This will be a working session to try to make some decisions, or to gather information, make some decisions in regards to the findings. So, if you have an interest in learning about the feasibility study outcome, I would recommend you try to make that meeting. That concludes my report.
The Chester County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors held its monthly meeting on September 21st, 2011 at the Educational Service Center in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. The following items were discussed and acted upon. We had a presentation of the Head Start program countywide. We were able to see how children are prepared for our district and other districts as they enter kindergarten. We heard many success stories of children and also of families who are able to participate in such a program. We also reviewed and weighted the CCIU board goals. We reviewed different staff development that's being provided, and I was really happy to see OJR participating in the Real World Challenge this year. That was a great thing on my part. Our next meeting will be held October 19th at the Center for Arts and Technology at the Brandywine campus in Coatesville, and that concludes my report.
6.4, curriculum instruction.
No presentation at this time.
6.5, Mr. Free, extracurricular and interscholastic board reports. 6.6, finance committee. 6.7, legislative and policy.
No reports at this time.
6.8, personnel committee, no meetings. 6.9, people services and special education.
No report at this time.
6.10, technology committee.
No reports at this time.
6.11, transportation.
No reports at this time.
That takes us to 7.1. The board is meeting. Over one. Acknowledgement of routine matters. The board is being requested to approve consent items 7.1 and 7.6. So we're going to motion. Mr. Free.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sparks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of routine matters. 8.1, approval of meeting minutes.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. McClintock.
Second.
Second by Ms. Barkus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Takes us to 9, board communication.
There are no communications, Mr. Hughes.
10, board discussion. 11, old business. There is none. 12, new business. 12.1, approval of policies.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder.
Second.
Second by Ms. Barnes. All those in